It's Tuesday, April 30th, 2024. I'm with John J. Jekovich, highly distinguished World War II veteran, and we're going over his book. We're on chapter 11 at page 298, and we're picking up at Snow Bunkers and Panzers. Snow Bunkers and Panzers. So, and your ID number?
Huh?
Your ID number?
42092965.
Okay, we're ready to go. We set about digging another large bunker for the two of us when we were not in the gun emplacement. We made it larger so that we could stretch out, it covered with straw inside. That night, Post bought us some hot chow in a couple of maritime cans, huge insulated cans as big as garbage cans, which kept the food piping hot. The cooks at the mess hall must have thought we had a full squad as they packed enough food for 10 to 12 people. Do you remember all that food they brought you?
Yeah.
Nevertheless, we appreciated it and ate it as much as we wanted. I felt good to stuff ourselves until we could not eat another bite. Well, do you remember what it was? What the food was?
What?
All that food they brought you?
Yeah.
What was it?
Roast beef, sirloin tips, salad.
It was very hot.
Yeah.
Did they have Brussels sprouts? Did they have Brussels sprouts? Brussels sprouts was in the food?
No Brussels sprouts.
Later, after getting relief from the gun emplacement, I crawled into a large bunker, threw a blanket over my head, turned on my flashlight, and read my mail I received from that afternoon. I first read the two from home. They were the usual nosy letters. Sally was getting along in school, but was having a tough time with algebra. Mother was complaining about the furnace going out on the coldest nights. I bet they did not take the ashes out of the ash pit, and I thought as I read the rest of the letter. Anne's letter was more poignant and heartwarming. She missed me and said she had a terrible time adjusting to my absence. Luckily, her full-time job and schooling kept her pretty busy and well occupied and took her mind off of her feelings of loneliness. She missed seeing me and times we spent together. She mentioned that she had not gone back to the Overlook since I had left. Anne also said she had not done many things we did together and reserving them for when I returned. I grasped the significance in the remark but did not dwell upon it. Her mother was doing well, still working full-time, and had said to tell me that she missed me and take care of myself. She also mentioned that she always thought of me as she entered her room of the last few days we had together and how much she cherished them. She also missed driving me around town, but most of all she missed talking to me and being with me. She closed by saying she loved me and to come back to her as quickly as possible. I put the letter down and tried to visualize Anne in my mind. I remembered her long blonde flowing hair, her inviting vivacious figure, but most of all her kind, sincere, beautiful face. It all seemed so long ago. Then I realized how I missed her once again and regretted all the missed opportunities. I wish that I had made more of our relationship something more lasting and would give me some form of comfort through the trying these arduous days. I closed my eyes and lay back on the straw, seeing Anne once again. She looked during the times. I would see her on paths, longing to hold her and kiss her and never to let her go. I folded the two letters neatly and put them into my pack, hoping to reread them at some future date. I looked at the two letters from Jean and picked the one with the earlier postmark. I noticed she had misspelled my last name, and that gave me a chuckle.
How did you spell it, John? John?
You said Jean misspelled your last name on the letter. How did she misspell it?
How she misspelled it?
Yeah.
My name?
You said Jean on the letter, she misspelled your last name. Do you remember how she misspelled it?
Yerkovich or something to say.
She started out by saying that she was saddened that she could not be there when I left. She heard of the news leaving just before noon, and it was all over town. The good people of Haverford West were distressed to see us go, and they wished us well. She also said she missed me greatly. She felt as if a great part of her life had gone with me, since everything seemed too empty and forlorn after I left. She missed our bicycle trips, our picnics and walks, but most of all she missed being with me. I took great comfort in that sentiment. I too missed all that much more, and I missed listening to the BBC, the walks and the two benches overlooking the town, the sound of the Spitfires and bombers flying overhead. She also stated her parents were concerned for my safety. The radio and paper were full of news of a counteroffensive by the Germans, and a violent battle was raging in the Ardennes. She wanted to see me again and wondered if I'd be getting a pass or something in the near future. Christmas was just not the same, she stated dejectedly. There was nothing to look forward to, and not too much of Christmas with me not being there. I also touched my sensitivity and her tenderness, and I would have liked nothing better to be with her folks and her during the holidays. She closed by saying that she would send me pictures in the next posting and to write soon, and God bless you. I folded the letters and stuffed them in my pack, then lay back trying to think of some kind of sense out of all of this. There was a challenge coming from the gun emplacement. They had encountered someone approaching them and were waiting for the counter password. I was given and I peered out of the bunker. I could see 6 or 7 men walking in single file heading out of town. They were a patrol reconnecting to the area to our front, probing the enemy to see what they're up to. They would be gone for several hours and probably return before dawn. The thought of a patrol duty did not sit too well with me, especially since the rumors would be pulling some in the near future if we continue to stay here. Leip had until morning on the gun, so I lay back and pulled the blanket to cover my body and gather us some warmth as I could. I thought of Jean and Anne and how disingenuous I had been with them, seeing each of them with neither aware of the other's presence. I infringed on their kindness and shared their hospitality and warmth, and all the while I was deceiving each one of them.
Uh-oh.
I was no better than the Germans in their sneak counterattack.
Oh, I would say
At
that.
least they thought they were justified to save their fatherland. What was my justification?
Oh, jeez.
The
You
next
were young. He was young.
The next morning, there was a rumor that we'd be receiving some new replacements. After Post had brought us some hot cakes and sausages, plenty of hot coffee, we asked them the latest scuttlebutt. Eventually, we had heard the same rumor, but we could see no evidence of it. What finally happened to Post?
The what?
What finally happened to Post? Post.
Post?
Wasn't he the guy that took care of all your supplies?
He's the driver.
What finally happened to him?
What happened to him? I don't think he got killed. I think they got rid of him.
Was he an older guy?
Huh?
Was he older?
No, he's a young kid, 19, 20 years old.
But you didn't see him much after.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
didn't have no street smarts or nothing.
Uh-huh. I was summoned to the CP in town, and Lieutenant Manacusio, the 90-day wonder, informed me that we're getting 6 or 7 men for our squad before the day was over.
What does the 90-day wonder mean?
90-day wonder, Lieutenant Manacusio.
Huh?
You said Lieutenant Manacusio is a 90-day wonder.
Yeah, he used to be a mail clerk.
Okay, then why would you call him a 90-day wonder?
Well, he stuck hold of the officers.
So he sucked hold of the officers and he became an officer, right?
Yeah,
I see.
Brown nose, I think you said.
Huh?
Yeah, brown nose.
I think you said he brown nosed him.
yeah.
He also said that I was still acting squad leader and I was attempting to get my stripes. Did you ever get your stripes?
No.
What the hell do you think happened?
Huh?
Why didn't you get your stripes?
Well, they're too busy doing something else.
Could you still get your stripes now?
Huh?
Can you still get your stripes now?
No. But hell, the war's been over 50 years.
I said nothing, and I only wanted to know more about the replacements. Naturally, he did not know any more than they were arriving. He stated empathetically that whatever we got, we should do our best we knew how, and the best we knew how. I thought his statements were typical rear echelon BS, and he probably never saw any combat and never would. So did Lieutenant Manacusio, the 90-day wonder, did he ever see the front lines?
No.
He got
He got in the division someplace.
I went back to the bunker to relieve Lape so we could get some breakfast. It was quiet, and all things that was unbearable was never-ending cold and not being able to get out of it for a short while. I could never understand why we could not be billeted in a warm house after standing our tour of guard in the bunker. Headquarters was billeted in a chateau with their own dining room and showers. I had not had a shower since leaving Haverford West, nor had anyone else. About mid-afternoon, we received our replacements. We strengthened our squad by 8 men, but I had a little apprehension after looking them over. We had one ex-paratrooper who had just got out of the stockade. So you just had the first guy that you had as your replacement just got out of the stockade for going over the hill in Normandy. He appeared to be half shot. And I came to the conclusion he was completely useless. So they gave you a guy that went over the hill and just got out of stockade. He was a runner. He didn't want to stay in the war.
Yeah.
There were several rear echelon people from Signal Ordnance and the quartermasters. They had been pulled into the line on the account of high casualties these past weeks, and in all probability have never fired a weapon since basic training. So these weren't experienced fighters, right? These weren't experienced fighters. They would not be much help. Also, we obtained several replacements from the provisional company in the States. They were draftees, 18 or 19 years of age, and these people I would put my faith and confidence. I told them to dig themselves a foxhole, or if they preferred a 2-man bunker, whichever suited them. Sullivan, the ex-paratrooper, immediately began sputtering about how much combat he had seen and how many Germans he had killed.
Yeah.
It had been my experience for a little time I've had over there that the people who bragged the most about the combat experiences were just attempting to bolster their own egos and meager combat skills. The ones that said nothing or very little were the ones that had seen a great deal of action. The 2 replacements of the provisional company, Lester and Huber, said very little but started almost to dig a 2-man bunker. I put them in the same category as the 2 ammo bearers who had already saved my life. I knew they would make out okay. These three replacements from the service companies, Guyton, Koch, and Fuller, did not have the slightest idea what was expected of them. I took them in tow and slowly described what was expected of them. They listened, but it was not registering. As I could tell them by the way they were reacting to what I was saying, I knew I was going to spend considerable time with them to increase their chances of surviving out here. The other two replacements, Quartz and Ellis, were ASTP and Air Corps. Quartz, with 3 years of college in English and history, was hopeless. I did not even have one to think about him. He was a typical ASTP that was just another example how the Army screwed things up. Instead of leaving Quartz where he would be most productive, they stuck him in the infantry. Ellis had gone past free flight at Lackland, and another 6 months would have been a bomber pilot. He pulled out of training to fill the ground troops, depleting rosters. He seemed like a regular guy and did not have ostentatious demeanor, and I have seen many times at Breckenridge. He would be an unknown entity until I got to know him better. Sullivan was ranting and raving about something, and the more I saw him, the more I convinced I became that he was ready for a Section 8. Oh my God. Sullivan, a Section 8. As I watched the men dig in their holes, I thought the TO, table of gunners, I wanted to put both ammo bearers for gunner and assistant gunner. But I could not do that to Lape, downgrade him to assistant gunner or even an ammo bearer. I finally left him as gunner, making one of the old ammo bearers assistant, and the rest ammo bearers. I had my doubts about the entire setup, but as my leader, Lieutenant Mancuso suggested, we have to do the best that we can with what we got.
Yeah.
I made up a guard roster for the evening and the night hours, but was perplexed in knowing what to do with Sullivan. I didn't want him screaming in the middle of the night, giving away our position to the Germans. Want to shut this down so we can look at all this?
Sure. This is junk mail.
Put on time. Well, put on time. I'll hand it to him so he